Content warning, all sorts of gross stuff. Disclaimer. Dear baby greaseball denizens of the interwoven webernet.gootube.com. Please remember throughout the viewing of this video that I literally eat trash for a living and therefore should forever be considered completely lacking in credibility. Straight up, just don't trust me. Though this video may bear the superficial resemblance of being an exceedingly well-written and produced series of helpful tips and tricks presented by an alarmingly charming host, it is actually an ephemeral projection of the illusion which is my ego. Its self-representation of my own entrapment in the relentless suffering and pain that is the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. Please remember that dumpster diving is dangerous and/or illegal, so dumpster dive at your own risk. But first, a word from our sponsors. This video has been brought to you by... Well, hey there. It is I, the juiciest secretion of Mama Gaia's dumpster cult, to be found this side of the interdimensional rift of post-physical unreality. Back again with another installment of The Tasty Wasteland. In the previous video of this series, we did a little intro to the pros and cons of dumpster diving, as well as some general introductions. And in this one, we're gonna dive in deep and wide with some gosh dang dumpster diving pro tips. First up, to dive right into it, you gotta get your gear right. If your gear ain't right, your shit ain't tight, and you're liable to have meat sludge in your shoes by the end of the night. Now, we're gonna start here with our generic long-haired white guy avatar. First off, you've got to make sure you're insulating your fragile corporeal form from the brutal, gooey vicissitudes of being nuts deep in a pile of potentially blood-filled trash bags. So you're going to want to throw a protective layer on there, like some crusty-ass overalls and a nice long-sleeve shirt. Oh yeah, looking dumpster-delic already. Next up, you're going to need some gloves. When I first started dumpster diving as a wee baby trash maggot, I somehow went about it without using any gloves at all. And in retrospect, I have straight up no idea what was wrong with me. Shit can get real gnarly, real fast when you're in the refuse-filled womb of a big metal garbage box. So you're gonna want to make sure that you've got a nice durable layer of fabric covering them grubby little fingers. Ideally, it's something puncture-proof and relatively non-permeable, because you never know what kind of undesirable fluids one might encounter. Once your hands are protected, you're going to want to do the same thing for your feet. Unless you're cool with potentially having your socks spontaneously filled with the blood of unknown animals, which has happened to me before, then I'd recommend getting some nice high-top rubber boots to keep your tasty little toesies fresh. This will make it much easier to traverse the uncertain terrain of a dumpster, and it'll help you feel like the big stomping trash baddie that you were born to be. Now, for the cherry on top of this whole trash ensemble we've got going on here, and arguably the most important item for your top-to-bottom dumpster experience, you're going to need a light source. That hashtag dumpster hustle typically requires one to go out at night, and the conditions inside the dumpster tend to be very dark. If your light ain't bright, you ain't got sight, and you're liable to have a real hard time, alright. This generic white guy avatar has a lot of hair, so let's do a dumpster convenient hairstyle, and throw an all-American hat on there to really round out this dumpster fresh aesthetic that I call honky maxing. Honky maxing. If you're whitening the trash, might as well dress like white trash. Bonus tip alert, bonus tip alert. If in the circumstance that you strike dumpster gold, you're going to need a place to put all of your grubby groceries. Luckily, the dumpsters tend to be full of cardboard boxes and other vessels that make it super convenient for you to stash your trash cache. However, cardboard boxes tend to be clunky and are prone to breaking at the worst possible moment. The ideal vessel for that hashtag Sigma dumpster grind set is something that's designed to bear a lot of weight and can be easily broken down when not in use for ease of transportation. Luckily, because the dumpster provides, it is not uncommon to find these bad boys. These foldable IFCO bins are perfect for this purpose. You can buy them if you really want to, or you can just wait until the dumpster gods deem you fit enough to receive your first IFCO benefit. Get it? Benefit? Next up, and equally important, the question that you might find yourself asking. "Oh, Mr. Meaty Trash Man, where shall I find such succulent dumping grounds from which to reap the tastiest of dumpster harvests?" Great question that I'm asking myself. Typically, at least in my experience, you can guess if a store trash compacts or not based on the size of the store. Giant corporate grocery stores like Walmart, Whole Foods, or Publix, with every imaginable grocery department, generally produce so much waste that they have to trash compact. Naturally, trash compactors are my arch nemesis and I hate them all. However, the dumpster gods have been gracious enough to bless us with mid-sized and smaller grocery stores. They don't have the space or the need for one of these infernal and compacting death machines. If you're in a metro area with a bunch of different grocery options, your best bet is going to be small to mid-sized health food stores, boutique groceries, etc. The good thing about trash compactors though is that they're giant and hard to miss. So if you're cruising around for a potential dumpster destination and you don't see one of these monstrosities, you're probably close to finding some good shit. There are always exceptions to these rules though. And the best way to find delectable dumpsters in your area is just to go out scouting. Pick a few promising points and see what there is to find. Beware though, know your local laws, watch out for security guards, bring a friend, stay prepared, and be kind to people that you meet that are also trying to get some of them sweet, sweet dumpster dinners. Which elegantly segues us into our next crucial point. Clean up after your damn self! I know better than most the strange, giddy exuberance that comes from landing in a dumpster with a friend only to be surrounded by unimaginable abundance. And in the act of harvesting, you might start hearing the voices of some mischief demons telling you to toss a few of the 500 eggs that you just found, say, at a wall, or maybe onto the roof of the store, or maybe at your friend. It is very important, though, that in the expression of this Dionysian dumpster euphoria, we do not forget that many other people may be relying on that very same trash heap to feed themselves or their families. And it only takes one annoying asshole to ruin a good thing for everybody. I've seen many dumpsters go from abundantly accessible to locked the fuck down because one of the parties that were taken from them couldn't help but leave trash strewn everywhere outside the dumpster. Generally, grocery store employees are chill and don't want to care if you eat their trash. But once you start leaving more work for them by leaving shit scattered all over the place when you're done harvesting, they're liable to lock you out. As a general rule, it's best to make the fact that you were ever there at all basically undetectable. That means every single thing that you pull out of the dumpster either goes with you or goes back in. Don't leave anything outside the dumpster and leave it cleaner than you found it. As I said in the previous video, the dumpster is a valuable commons for many, so treat it like one, with respect and reverence, and clean up your shit. Moving on, you'll find that when you're in the dumpster itself, confronted by a heaping mass of plastic bags and random crusty BS, it may become difficult to get a great idea of what is and isn't worth going through. This is something that is learned with experience, but it is helpful to know how to speed read the various trash bags, so you're not wasting too much time sifting through every single bag in fear of missing something. Conveniently for us, food tends to be pretty heavy, on account of it being filled with calories and junk. As you're sifting through, if a bag is light enough to be easily tossed aside with one hand, chances are high that it is not worth your time. With a little experience and practice, the dumpster devotee shall become a master of the mystical science of reading the bags. And, for a final tip, dumpster diving in a group situation with roommates, for example, can get tricky. Being a trash farmer is inevitably a lot of fucking work, and it runs the risk of turning into the high school group project dynamic, where one person ends up doing most of the work, with equal benefit being bestowed upon everyone, despite their unequal contributions. Now, maybe it's just the Libra in me that expects reciprocity from those around me, but this whole dynamic can become unsustainable if not managed correctly. One of the myriad ways in which capitalism has broken our brains is that it seems like we tend to have a difficult time perceiving of common resource management that isn't monetized. The dumpster offers a novel dilemma of incredible abundance that can be very easily shared. But because there's essentially no money involved, interesting questions begin to arise about who owns the goods or who is entitled to them, or even what transaction of labor is to be contributed by those who want in on the scores but don't necessarily want to be the trash farmer themselves. Now, I realize that the language here is imperfect, because I really don't love the idea of anyone owning the stuff that's pulled out of the trash. But I'm also speaking from personal experience, that it can become all too easy for those in a common living situation to assume that an equal contribution of dumpster labor is not required if free access to the goods is desired. Again, this may be my Libra nature shining through. But dumpster diving as a group of roommates, for example, can also be an interesting experiment in group management of an unmonetized community resource. Novel concept, I know. If you want to dumpster dive as an inclusive group, having a clear division of labor is crucial to the sustainability of the project. For example, let's say 2 people go out to gather the goods, and 2 people stay at home to help them carry all the shit inside. The dumpster team's main workload is gathering and hauling, and the home team's main workload is cleaning and storage of all the shit that's recovered. It sounds simple, but in this age where we all have crippling ADHD, it has been my experience that managing these group dynamics and receiving equal contribution from all parties can be one of the trickiest parts of the dumpster process. Be fair to each other, y'all. If there's no money involved in the acquisition of how food is acquired in your household, contribute your time, your intentionality, your labor, your love. Give your local lead dumpster diver a massage or something. It can get really cramped inside a dumpster, and they need to relax. One of the more challenging aspects of the dumpster diving lifestyle is the grit that it requires. The modern age of hyperconvenience has made us all very used to instant gratification and seamless, though pricey, access to the necessities of life. Food delivery is easier than ever, and there's not anything wrong with that necessarily, especially if one is physically unable to shop for themselves, or the circumstances of one's life make it really difficult to find the time to go shopping. At the same time, I can't help but feel that something is lost when we become so conditioned to receiving literally whatever we want at the click of a button. The growing, gathering, hunting, and preparing of food is what our ancestors spent a lot of time doing together. And so much of our ancestral communities were constructed around these foodways. People today are so lonely, and receiving your food from an anonymous individual who obeys the commands of an app inside your phone surely doesn't help to solve this problem. Dumpster diving, on the other hand, especially if you do it with others, has the potential to be the opposite of this dynamic. It is, in many, many ways, supremely inconvenient, and the labor intensiveness of it makes it anything but a form of instant gratification. It provides us a chance to innovate forms of community that the hellscape of neoliberal capitalism has done its best to destroy. Modes of mutual aid and care, networks of unmonetized and easily shareable abundance. Now, as of writing this script, I've been dumpster diving as much as possible for about 4 years straight. By now, all the cells in my body that renew on a regular basis have built themselves using calories that I extracted from a dumpster. I am, one might say, quite literally, the dumpster embodied at this point. One time, I found a bunch of avocados in the trash heap, planted some of the seeds, and what would have become a fetid pile of waste at the bottom of a landfill has instead become a fully grown avocado tree that is now significantly taller than me. Birds chill in that tree now. It sequesters atmospheric carbon into its body and the soil as it grows, and eventually it'll start producing fruit. All the plants inside and outside my house that I care for every day I have scavenged. The dumpster, in this way, represents this strange proxy of the Gaian abundance that has so generously fostered our civilization and our species, and is in many ways a symbol of the ways that we abuse and take that very gift of cosmic abundance for granted. In this way, there's a tragic beauty to the wealth these trash heaps provide. They are microcosms of the biological and ecological bounty that the soils of this planet have gifted to us, free of charge. Yet, we as a species somehow created this system of perverse incentives under capitalism that causes us to waste so much of this abundance because it has been deemed unprofitable. I have found literal giant bags of potting soil in the dumpster. I found gallons and gallons of perfectly drinkable water in the dumpster. What does it say about a civilization that's so willing to wantonly commit to the anaerobic tomb of the landfill, two of our most unfathomably precious resources of soil and water? Where do you go with civilization when everything, even the very elemental fundaments of life, has become a profit-driven product that is to be destroyed if the profit motive is removed? What happens when everything, even the land and the water, even the act of you listening to me speak here, are reduced to a series of products to be consumed? Now, don't forget to let me know in the comments and smash that subscribe button. Yeehaw! Clearly, dumpster diving has become a significant part of my life. It imbues a richness to the meaning of the wastes of suburban sprawl, to the rickety, greed-laden bones of late capitalism. It takes something that often feels so meaningless, so bereft of authenticity, shopping at the grocery store, and mobilizes you as an agent in an ecological system, actively addressing an urgent crisis. The experience of gathering food should be something that feels meaningful, something that doesn't leave you with the sense that you're numbing and betraying your own relationship to your environment. To dumpster, in my opinion, is to glimpse, oh so slightly, into a post-capitalist state of mind, where simply existing does not require one to sabotage the ecology of the earth. In this way, I endeavored to become a compost heap incarnate, a walking, talking waste diversion stream, animated by the very life force provided to me by the dumpster's abundance, spreading the good word of the dumpstarian deities to households across the globe. Now, if you need me, I'll be extracting 30 cartons of Peruvian blueberries from a giant crust-filled waste box located conveniently behind a grocery store near you.